This 2,000-year-old farming secret method still produces bigger harvests than modern raised beds. What if I told you that some of the most advanced high-yield farming systems weren't invented in Silicon Valley or modern agricultural labs, but over 2,000 years ago? While many gardeners invest in expensive raised beds, drip irrigation kits, and commercial organic fertilizer, ancient civilizations were already growing massive harvests using smarter, more sustainable designs. These time-tested methods improved soil health, water conservation, and crop productivity without plastic liners or synthetic inputs. In today's world of climate change, food security concerns, and rising gardening costs, their secrets might be more relevant than ever. Let's uncover the ancient farming systems that still outperform modern raised beds. One, Chinampas, Aztec floating gardens, the high-yield system that fed empire. When people hear the phrase floating gardens, they often imagine something decorative, but Chinampas were serious agriculture. Developed over 2,000 years ago by the Aztecs in what is now Mexico, this system helped feed one of the largest cities in the ancient world. Instead of growing crops in dry soil, farmers built rectangular planting beds in shallow lakes. These beds were layered with mud, vegetation, and nutrient-rich lake sediment. The result was an incredibly fertile growing system that produced reliable harvests year-round. What makes Chinampas so powerful is their natural irrigation design. Water surrounds each bed, which regulates soil moisture and stabilizes temperature. This reduces drought stress and protects crops from sudden climate swings, something modern gardeners struggle with today. The lake sediment constantly replenished organic matter, acting like free compost and natural fertilizer. In modern terms, this is sustainable agriculture, organic farming, and climate-resilient gardening all in one system. Compared to modern raised garden beds, Chinampas often produced higher yields per square foot. Because nutrients were continuously refreshed, soil fertility rarely declined the way it does in boxed beds. The surrounding canals also supported fish, birds, and beneficial insects, creating a natural ecosystem balance. This reduced pest problems without synthetic pesticides, making it one of the earliest examples of regenerative farming. For gardeners interested in permaculture design, soil health improvement, and high-yield vegetable gardening, Chinampas offer lessons that still outperform many modern backyard gardening trends. Two, Waffle gardens, Zuni technique. Desert farming that conserves every drop. In the dry regions of the American Southwest, the Zuni people developed a brilliant solution to water scarcity. Instead of raised beds, they created small square depressions in the soil, forming a grid that looks like a waffle. These recessed planting pockets captured rainwater and reduced evaporation in harsh desert climates. Each square protected young crops from wind and intense heat. This method allowed food production in areas that most people would consider impossible for vegetable gardening. The genius of waffle gardens lies in water conservation and microclimate control. By lowering the soil surface, moisture stays trapped longer, reducing the need for constant irrigation. This is especially important today as more gardeners search for drought-tolerant crops and sustainable landscaping ideas. The raised borders around each square act like mini berms, directing rainfall exactly where it is needed. For modern homesteading, backyard farming, and survival gardening enthusiasts, this ancient method is highly relevant. Unlike modern raised beds that can dry out quickly in hot climates, Waffle gardens keep root zones cooler and consistently moist. Crops such as corn, beans, and squash thrived in these carefully shaped pockets. This is precision gardening without expensive drip irrigation systems or automated watering tools. It proves that smart design can outperform high-cost gardening equipment. If you are exploring water-efficient gardening, organic food production, and climate-smart agriculture, this 2,000-year-old method deserves serious attention. Three, Waru Incan raised fields. Flood-resistant farming in extreme climates. High in the Andes Mountains, the Inca engineered one of the most resilient farming systems in history. Waru, also known as Incan raised fields, consisted of long, elevated planting platforms separated by water-filled channels. These channels weren't decorative. They were critical for temperature regulation and frost protection. During the day, water absorbed solar heat, and at night it slowly released warmth back to the crops. This reduced frost damage in high-altitude farming environments where temperatures can swing dramatically. Waru fields also prevented crop loss from heavy rainfall and seasonal flooding. Excess water drained into the surrounding canals instead of drowning plant roots. The channels collected organic matter and sediment, enriching the soil over time. This created a natural nutrient cycling system similar to modern regenerative agriculture techniques. Today, agricultural scientists study this method as a model for climate adaptation and sustainable food systems. In comparison to modern raised garden beds, Waru offered built-in drainage, irrigation, and temperature control without plastic liners or synthetic inputs. Crops like potatoes and quinoa thrived in conditions that would challenge most commercial farming operations. This system increased food security for entire civilizations living in extreme environments. For viewers interested in organic gardening, food security strategies, and high-yield farming methods, Waru shows that innovation didn't begin with modern technology. Sometimes the smartest agricultural solutions were discovered thousands of years ago. Four, Alia irrigation, ancient terracotta. Underground watering that saves time and money. Long before drip irrigation systems and smart garden timers existed, ancient farmers used something surprisingly simple: clay pots buried in the soil. This technique, known as Alia irrigation, dates back over 2,000 years and was widely used in China, North Africa, and parts of Latin America. An unglazed terracotta pot is buried near plant roots and filled with water. Because the clay is porous, water slowly seeps out directly into the surrounding soil. Plants draw moisture only when they need it, creating a highly efficient, low-waste watering system. What makes Alia irrigation so powerful is its ability to reduce water usage by up to 50 to 70% compared to surface watering. There is almost no evaporation because water travels underground straight to the root zone. This makes it ideal for drought-resistant gardening, water conservation landscaping, and sustainable vegetable growing. It also minimizes weed growth since the soil surface remains relatively dry. For gardeners focused on organic farming, homestead gardening, and reducing utility costs, this ancient solution can outperform many modern irrigation tools. Compared to raised beds that dry out quickly under direct sunlight, Alias maintain steady soil moisture levels. Roots grow deeper and stronger because water is available below the surface instead of only at the top layer. This improves plant health, boosts crop yield, and reduces transplant shock in seedlings. Even today, Many permaculture designers and sustainable agriculture experts recommend terracotta irrigation for high-efficiency backyard farming. Sometimes the best smart gardening system is one that requires no electricity at all. Five, terrace farming, various civilizations, turning mountains into productive fields. Across Asia, South America, and the Mediterranean, ancient civilizations transformed steep hillsides into layered agricultural steppes. Terrace farming allowed communities to grow food in mountainous regions where flatland was scarce. By carving wide platforms into slopes, farmers prevented soil erosion and controlled rainwater flow. Each level acted like a natural catchment system, slowing runoff and improving soil absorption. This simple yet powerful land management strategy supported rice cultivation, vegetable production, and grain farming for thousands of years. The brilliance of terrace farming lies in its erosion control and water management benefits. Instead of losing topsoil during heavy rain, nutrients stayed locked in place. This is especially relevant today as soil degradation and climate change threaten global food production. Terraces also create microclimates where temperature and moisture vary slightly at each level. Modern sustainable agriculture, land restoration projects, and regenerative landscaping often borrow principles from this ancient engineering method. Compared to flat raised beds, terraces work with the landscape rather than against it. They maximize land use efficiency in areas that would otherwise be considered unusable for farming. Crops receive better drainage while still retaining adequate moisture during rainy seasons. This increases agricultural productivity without chemical fertilizers or heavy machinery. For anyone interested in homesteading, sustainable land development, or high-yield crop systems, terrace farming remains one of the most successful agricultural innovations in history. Six, ZAI pits, West African tradition, reviving dead soil with smart microbasins. In the dry Sahel region of West Africa, farmers developed an ingenious method to restore degraded land. ZA pits are small planting holes dug into hard, cracked soil before the rainy season begins. Each pit is filled with compost, manure, or organic matter to attract termites and improve soil structure. When rain falls, water collects in these pits instead of running off the surface. This concentrates moisture and nutrients exactly where crops are planted. ZAI pits have helped transform barren land into productive farmland once again. The technique increases crop yields of sorghum and millet in areas facing desertification and water scarcity. By capturing rainwater and rebuilding soil fertility, farmers can grow food even in harsh climates. This aligns closely with modern regenerative agriculture, soil restoration practices, and climate-smart farming. It proves that improving soil health is often more powerful than expanding farmland. Unlike raised beds that rely on imported soil mixes, ZAI pits improve the soil that already exists. The focused application of compost boosts microbial activity and organic matter levels. Over time, previously lifeless ground becomes fertile and capable of sustaining crops naturally. Agricultural development experts now promote this system as a low-cost food security strategy. For viewers interested in sustainable farming, drought recovery methods, and organic soil improvement, ZAI pits are a powerful reminder that small changes can create massive harvest gains. 7. Hugelkultur, ancient Germanic and Eastern European practice, composting underground for bigger harvests. Hugelkultur may sound modern, but versions of this method date back centuries in Central and Eastern Europe. The technique involves burying logs, branches, and woody debris under layers of soil to create raised mounds. As the wood slowly decomposes, it releases nutrients back into the soil. At the same time, the buried organic matter acts like a sponge, holding moisture during dry periods. This creates a self-fertilizing, water-retaining garden bed. One of the biggest benefits of hugelkultur is long-term soil fertility without synthetic inputs. As wood breaks down, it supports beneficial fungi and soil microbes essential for plant health. This improves nutrient cycling and enhances overall soil structure. For modern permaculture gardening, organic vegetable production, and sustainable landscaping, hugelkultur is considered a cornerstone practice. It reduces the need for chemical fertilizers and frequent irrigation. Compared to standard raised beds filled with store-bought soil, hugelkultur systems become more productive over time. They recycle yard waste, reduce landfill contributions, and lower gardening costs. Crops often show strong root development and improved drought tolerance. Many homestead farmers and backyard gardening enthusiasts report higher yields with fewer inputs. In a world focused on eco-friendly living and regenerative food systems, this ancient European method still competes with the best modern garden technology. Conclusion. When you look at chinampas, waffle gardens, waru-waru, Alya irrigation, terrace farming, ZAI pits, and hugelkultur, one thing becomes clear. Innovation didn't start with modern technology. These ancient systems were built on deep understanding of soil regeneration, natural irrigation, climate adaptation, and sustainable agriculture. Instead of fighting nature, they worked with water flow, temperature shifts, and organic matter cycles to increase crop yields naturally. And in many cases, they delivered higher productivity with fewer external inputs than today's raised garden beds.